Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today we're going to be looking at the third house of the zodiac wheel. It's often called the house of communication. Now, the first two houses deal with the self, so that's your personal identity in the first house, and then what you value in the second house. The third house is where you become aware of other people. So that starts with like your family, your siblings, neighbours, and also your first awareness of other people at school, such as creche, kindergarten, early learning is also related to the third house. This is also where you learn your birth language because it's normally your family that are going to teach you your birth language. It's also where you learn about kindred spirits because as you're meeting other people, you start to get a mental connection with them. So your intelligence plays a big part in the third house as well. It's your understanding of things and how you put your knowledge to use. So it's how you put your talents to work in the world. So those things that you valued in the second house, in the third house, you can now start putting them to work. The third house is known as a cadent house. Right, so we looked at the first house, the fourth house, the seventh house, and the 10th house are what's known as angular houses. And then the second, the fifth, the eighth, and the 11th are known as succedent houses. So in the angular houses, we get ideas. In the succeeding houses, we can start putting those ideas into some kind of reality. But then in the cadent houses, which are the third, the sixth, the ninth, and the 12th, in those houses, this is where we can analyze information with other people and we can then start to test out our ideas that we have. Okay. Now, the third house, along with the seventh house and the 11th house, are air houses. The third house is ruled by the mutable air sign of Gemini and the planet Mercury. Gemini has the symbol of the twins, so it's a dualistic sign. Mutable means that it's quite adaptable. It can change at whim. And because of this, it can also be quite fickle. It can jump from one thing to another. So the third house likes to be busy. It also can do many things at one time. People with Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant often are people who have more than one job, or they're doing two or three things in the job. They like a variety and they like to be kept busy. Okay, so this is where you're going to learn and communicate what you have learned to other people. It's where you learn to talk with other people, but you also learn to flirt, banter, chatter, and exchange ideas or have arguments. You want to meet new people to give you ideas and new experiences. And those new people will be in your local area because this is where you learn about your family and siblings and people that you meet for the first time who are normally local to you. So it includes short distance travel in this house. That also includes public transport, which is how many people will get to see their family or friends. Um, as I say, short distance travel in your own vehicle or your family's vehicle. But it will also include things like scooters, bicycles, for instance, and also gadgets that help you keep in touch with those people, like your mobile phone, for instance. That's all included in that third house as well, this third house. And when it comes to relationships within this house, partnerships could be short term because it's as I say, it's a very fast, busy house, and Gemini can be fickle. But the type of relationships that this house will actually deal with are usually platonic. They are mental based, so that they're a mental connection based on intelligence or ideas that are shared. So these are the type of relationships that you form with siblings, neighbours, friends, or work colleagues when you first meet them. So you could be pairing up with another person to organise a business meeting, for instance, or to organise a birthday party, or teaming up to produce something that is productive, or something that could be fun, but it's a short-term thing that is normally meant in the third house. Now, on a physical basis, the third house deals with the hands, the arms, and the lungs. It reveals what you can do by hand, such as crafts or mechanics. And um, also your lungs deal with communication, because you can't communicate without having good lungs, without breathing, for instance. So that's why those are dealt with by the third house. When we say communication, it doesn't just mean verbal communication, it also means communication in writing, body language, for instance, sign language, basically how you react to other people and how they react to you. So it's any form of communication. It can be quite a charismatic house to deal with, but sometimes, like I've been mentioning positive things about the house, but as I said before, just that one part I mentioned arguments. It is a house where, because it's quite busy, it's quite erratic at times. So there are times when you need to pause and think before you speak, text, post, or send any email or letter, right? Because it can be the wrong thing to communicate. That's something to remember with this house. So when we're looking at this house, some of the things that we ask ourselves are, do you use communication to manipulate other people, for instance? Do you enjoy communicating with other people, or is it a struggle? Do you like starting verbal battles with people? Do you like arguing? Or do you like having a good discussion? Do you like advising people? Do you like passing on your knowledge? So do you enjoy teaching people? So these are some of the things that we look at with the third house. Okay, leave any comments that you have in the section at the bottom. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you next time with the fourth house. Take care. Bye-bye.